Hi guys, it is Chris with Fake Rich and Tired. It's been a little while, but I am back and in full effect. Here to answer you guys' questions about how I am keeping up with our budget since we no longer are doing a monthly budget. I found it stressful to just sit down and go like every paycheck and do every dollar, and I just didn't want to go through that. But what we have been using for a few years now is this paycheck plan, and this initially came from an idea from a personal finance course that I took, and I did individual coaching and consultation with that particular course. And this is one of the tools that she has. I kind of changed it a bit, of course, to fit my needs, but the idea is great, and the way that I've been able to use it over the past few years has been what has helped us to be successful in keeping up with our budget. So here I want to explain to you guys exactly how I use this paycheck plan. So the first set of numbers that you see here is based on my first paycheck, or our first paycheck, which came in on January 3rd. And what we enter here, the only number that we enter up top is here for the net pay. This number was adjusted a little bit because I had to enter this actually after some bills had come out, and we had made some other purchases. So that amount has been adjusted. But for all the future weeks, you'll see that I have this round number. It's about this much after all of the taxes, insurance, and then auto payments like the ones that come out for our credit union, the payments that we just never see that automatically come out of our paycheck. I don't put those here. I really only put the number here that is, and this is just my husband's income. I put mine separately for a number of reasons, and I'll explain that later. But that is the number that is here. So the number that we have available in the bank to pay the bills and the necessities and everything. So I put that under each section for each pay date. Then the next section that you'll see under here is a list of the monthly bills. And what I do under here is I'm entering all of the bills between January 3rd, which is that paycheck, and then the day before the next paycheck, which will be January 16th in this case. And how I get that information is there is a tab down here below for full bills. And this shows a list of our monthly bills, all the bills that we pay each month. They're listed with the amount and the due date. And the amounts are a negative number so that it can automatically calculate on my other sheet. So since we said everything in that particular section was from January 3rd through the 16th, I would highlight all of the bills on the sheet. I have them sorted by date between the 3rd and the 16th. And the way that you see that is the due date over here. Due the 3rd, 4th, 7th, 9th, all the way down to the 16th. So I copy that, and then I go back to our initial tab, and I paste that under monthly bills. And then what that shows here, or what that leaves here, is the amount left over from that paycheck. Now, there are some other sections at the bottom that I'll show you that are also calculated in that as well. So below, we also have these biweekly bills. They come out on payday, but they don't come out of our paychecks automatically. So I do list them here. So that amount is down here. So that's calculated in the amount left over. Also, what we have for groceries, gas and personal, our fund spend, that's also down here. Everything that needs to be subtracted, as you see, is listed as a negative number. I also have something listed for other miscellaneous. That's if we get any other miscellaneous income, any other miscellaneous expenses. I list them here, positive or negative, depending on what they are. And then at the bottom, I list my income separately because it is so variable. So I only list my minimum amount before my commissions, because I never know what my commissions are going to be. And then once I get the note of what my commissions will be, then I add that to this amount. So this amount will change and will fluctuate, but I only need this base amount right now to calculate what we need for our biweekly budget right now. If it comes up, let's say there's a week and let's say this was a little bit negative, like negative $100 or $200. I don't worry about it too much because I know that's going to be covered by whatever my commissions are. If it's a lot though, like if it's negative like 1,000 or something like that, then I do adjustments with my bills. We figure out a way to make more income, or we call and make arrangements with people. That's what you got to do when you're budgeting. But basically, as you can see here, all of my bills are listed. This is the amount that is left over after all the bills, groceries, gas, all necessities are taken out for this pay period. So I'll do the same for the next pay period. So for January 17th, let me scroll over a bit so you can see. We need to list all the bills from January 17th all the way through January 30th, the day before the next paycheck. Right here, I enter the net pay for that particular pay period. That's how much we would bring home or he brings home. I enter my initial net pay, my base pay down here at the bottom so that I can easily adjust it so I don't have to worry about calculating it up here in his pay. And then I do the same thing. So you already see some listed here. You see some blank spaces because these are some things that are either paid or just came off this month that happens. So sometimes I might delete some things. But I do the same thing. So from January 17th all the way through January 30th, I go back to the monthly bills tab. And I start here because that's the first bill that's due in that pay period. And then I highlight everything all the way down to the 30th. So the last payment, the IRS is due on the 30th. We copy that, go back to our paycheck tab. We paste that under the January 17th paycheck. And we repeat that. The same thing would be for January 31st. Anything from January 31st to February 13th, we paste that down in here. So that's basically it. That's how we use it. It's really simple. We don't touch these numbers because this is automatically calculated, but this is telling me every week what is left over in the bank after our bills come out. That number, of course, is going to change because I have to add my commissions every couple weeks, but I'm not physically doing that. Like I said, we're not tiring ourselves out by doing the budget all the time. But I may come in once a month and I will find out, let's say I come in at the end of the month and I find out that my commissions for my January 3rd paycheck, actually, we've already gotten January 3rd, but let's just say I come in later and I find out that my commissions are $1,000. I will change that to $1,600. And let's say for this week, it's $800. I will change that to, what is that, 1,400? Now I'm doing quick math in my head. So I would change that, which of course would change the amount left over at the end of that pay period. So that's how we do that. That's how we keep up with everything. That's how I know now when I come in and let's say that was January 31st and I've entered those numbers and we've stayed diligent about the amounts in our budgets, which we do that with a whole different method that I'll explain to you guys later on because we do separate bank accounts for it, our bills and our fund spend and things like that. But when I come in on the 31st paycheck, and let's say I want to check out things, I see that we have $2,600 that is left over from our previous paychecks. And what I can do is I can say, okay, this might be a good month to snowball. I check over a few paychecks to see what's left over. And I see, okay, consistently we have at least $2,000 that's left over. So by knowing that, I know that we can snowball a little bit. I always like to try to keep a cushion in the bank account, so I don't want to go too far. But for instance, we had $2,000 was the least amount that we had over the next several paychecks. since we like to keep a cushion of about $1,000 in the checking account, what I'll do is say, okay, there's $1,000 we can snowball. So let's snowball. I'll add a line here and I'll say, let's snowball our, and then I'll look at my debt payoff sheet, which is another thing. I'll snowball and I'll go ahead and put $1,000 toward that, for example. Actually, it has to be negative. I'll adjust that and put that in there. I have to remember to delete this because this is my actual spreadsheet. So I'll adjust that and put that in there so that I can see when we did that. So we're going to do that on the January 31st paycheck. And then I will change that on my debt payoff sheet, things like that. That's a whole different video. I just wanted to show you guys the basics of how I handle my budgeting because I'm not doing it like we used to do it. So if you have any questions or you'd like a blank copy of this spreadsheet that may help you out, let me know. I can send you a blank copy. Email me at fakerichandtired@gmail.com and I will send you a blank copy and some notes on how to use it. Hope you guys got some information from this and it answered some of your questions about how we're able to keep up with our budget. If you have any questions, please don't forget to leave them in the comments or again, shoot me an email. But I like when you guys comment and engage and let me know if this is helpful for you or if there's anything else I can help you guys with to let you know how we're doing on this debt-free journey.